Oh, that's amazing. Welcome to Twitch.tv. I'm looking over there and the camera's now there. Nice, great. This is all going well. Anyway, how are we all doing? If anyone heard the free Fortnite and there was he was in yesterday's stream, then that will make sense. If not, then just go with it. Just go with it. Embrace the weird. It's fine. How are we all doing? Welcome into Twitch.tv/Ice Cream Plus. Good morning. Good morning. It's nice to see people in nice and early. Hey, how you doing? How's things, babe?
Good, man. Very, very good. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad. Do you know what I'm going to do? Just to be nice, and because everyone else wants it as well, I'm going to copy the link of the tweet that we put out. I'm going to drop it in social media, and if anyone wants to just hit retweet on that, then that will be nice. That's our tweet from Ice Cream Plus. If anyone just wants to go to Twitter and hit retweet on that, that'd be nice, and just let everyone know that we're live. Thank you very much. Anyway, good morning. Welcome in. Tito says, morning, gents, as does Gagad. Good morning, good morning. Morning to Chucky as well. Mr. Tharian Drake, I was chilling in his stream earlier on. He was getting his art on. Hey, gents, I sent you a PDF. Oh, have you? Is that what, Discording? I did hear you mention that you were working on your comic, but I just jumped into a meeting, actually, with Bibby at that point in time. So I heard it, but I couldn't actually respond because I'd just been like, sorry, lads, 1 second, let me just jump back out of the meeting and just going to chat to Tharian Drake. So, yeah, nice. I will check it out. I'll have a look. I'm excited to see. Good morning, Mr. Bearded Edge. A.K.A. Callum, a.k.a. the bearded villain, a.k.a. all right, love, now then, sorted, nice one. How's everyone doing? First things first, though. Champions League final, babe.
It is.
What are you saying?
Shit, it. Well and truly, like, it's so weird because I never have, and I don't know why I don't have faith because we've lost 5 games all season, but it was such a, and I don't like using this word when it comes to football, but a professional performance last night. Like from top to bottom, it felt like we didn't have a lot of the ball, but they didn't get close. Like we just kept on nullifying their midfield, nullifying their attack, and just making them knock it around their own penalty box and their own half and on the halfway line. But there's a few times Neymar had the ball and he looked dangerous, like Neymar does. He's just a world class player. It's quite difficult to try and nullify, but yesterday, Diaz, Stones, Zinchenko, Walker, that back line yesterday was phenomenal. So, yeah, I mean, I think we'd have more chance of beating Chelsea, famous last words, but I want Real Madrid. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we wanted the easier path, I'd probably like Chelsea over Real Madrid. Real Madrid have got the experience in the competition. They are a very good team. They always seem to perform when they need to, and they'll grind out results. Chelsea are very good at getting 1-0 wins, especially now with Tuchel in charge. He's a very, very good organised manager. I want Real Madrid, though. I want Real Madrid.
Sorry, I just got distracted by the cat. The cat just arose from the slumber on the windowsill, jumped down to the floor. So yeah, I mean, this is quite frustrating because like I instantly see City winning. I'm sat there going, "Come on, PSG." Come on, PSG. Obviously, I'm a United fan, obviously. So then I'm like, oh, come on, Real Madrid versus Chelsea. It's all to play for in that tie. I'd like, come on, Real Madrid, and then do City in the final. Yeah, go fucking City, fuck. And then I see Baby's tweets about, I'm just looking forward to being able to just watch this match with my granddad. I'm like, for fuck you! Stop trying to break down my harsh knobhead wall. For fuck's sake! I'm here to just to pick a fight. Has Bibby frozen or is he still there? I can't tell. Hello? No, he's he has frozen. Or have I frozen? Are you guys still here? I don't know.
No, it was me. It was my PT. It just locked up.
I was like, Bibby's just like not having this conversation. To start talking about City and that's it. He just goes triggered. Yeah. So yeah, anyway,
my PC is completely locked up. All I heard was I really wanted PSG to win, and then my PC just went.
The gist of it was I wanted PSG to win, and then they didn't. So I'm looking at the other fixture, going, "Oh, it's all to play for." Come on, Real Madrid go through and do City in the final. Yeah, let's stick it to City because I'm a United fan. That's what you'd expect. And then I see Bibby tweeting about he's getting to watch the final with his granddad, something he's been looking forward to all his life. And I was like, for fuck's sake, just breaking down my walls now. 1 minute I'm like, yeah, City, you dicks. And now I'm like, oh, go on then. Go on then. So, yeah, I mean, fuck you.
Like, it's one of them things like, the lads are trying to organise potentially going out and watching the match in a pub and stuff like that. It's just like, there is no way I am missing this game without, like, the only time that I'm going to watch this game anywhere else is if I've got 2 tickets to go to the ground to watch it so I can take him. There is no one else I'd more ever watch this match with. It's just, yeah, I never thought growing up that this would even happen. Never mind winning the league, getting to a Champions League final. There's just no way that I'm ever going to miss this.
Done it, mate. Just done it before. It's fine. It's whatever. Easy being there, mate. Callum says, since when did I have a mank accent? Yeah, okay, that was just me just manking it up ahead of the talking to bit. Callum is full on Yorkshire. Callum, as he will tell you, he can repeat one word 3 times and tells you a full sentence. If you ask a Yorkshireman, let's say if you've got a little metal box that you call a tin, and you keep your watch in it, and you're looking for your watch, and you open up the tin and there's no watch in there, a Yorkshireman would say tin tin tin, which means it isn't in tin. There you go. Anyway, Zinchenko has come into his own the last few weeks. Morning, by the way, says Luke. Good morning, Luke. How's things, dude?
Morning.
Second half was like a proper game of Pez against an angry opponent, snapping ankles. I was fully expecting someone to attempt a long through ball over the top at one point from a kickoff. Yeah. Great result for Shake Mansour says it's the Vinster. Well, yeah. Do you know what? Actually, I can't slot him too much because fucking at least he puts money into the club. I mean, don't get me wrong, it does piss me off when I want to use it as something to beat City with. I will absolutely all day, every day. But at least he invests in everything, fucking the stadium, the youth setup, and all of that sort of stuff. Whereas we've just got a guy with a tufty bit of hair on the back of his neck that just doesn't do anything. So, I mean, obviously, yeah. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's put up in the football conversation. It's nice to start things off. But if you don't know why we are here, good morning. How are you all doing? We are Ice Cream Uploads, and this is our podcast. We talk about video games news and football, but yeah, video games mainly. Tino says, Graham, can you organise a work meeting during the match? Actually, I can. Sorry, Bib. Yeah, that is a bit. Broke my foot. Oh, I've got a cold and/or a headache. I can't make it. Sorry, boss. It's all right. I want to watch it as well, so I'll be sat next to him. Anyway, how are we all doing? If you're in the chat, please feel free to get involved. As mentioned, this is our podcast. We talk about video games news because we are Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day. This is Bibbit. And in true ice creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video games podcast, even if we do say so ourselves. Yeah. Anyway, we go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish. 10 a.m.-ish. It's at 8 minutes past 11, so 10 a.m.-ish. But we do have an exclusive emote that says ish, just to cover us for that. So we go live whenever we can. We do work in the video games industry. You may have heard of Jelly Media. Well, we are ice cream because of jelly and ice cream that go together. Anyway, we do go live on Twitch at 10 a.m.-ish each and every single weekday, Monday to Friday, unless it's bank holidays, or Baby just wants a day off because, he does that all the time.
Every day.
Ish. Anyway, we do go live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, but that live stream is then turned into a podcast, a video that goes out on YouTube, and an audio podcast that goes on iTunes and Spotify and SoundCloud, and I'm running out of fingers. Okay, I've got a thumb. Google Play. Nice. 5 places. So everyone watching and listening on demand, they do get the benefit of all of the on-demand things, but they do not get to speak to us live in the chat. So if you are in the chat, please feel free to use your voice on behalf of all of those people that are watching and listening on demand a little bit later on. Just before we do jump into the stream, ! Loot drop. And do you know what? I'm going to show you the asset. This is a exclusive from a Discord preview. It's not even out on the internet yet, but this is what this month's loot drop is. So obviously, if you don't know what the loot drop is, if you're a subscriber to the stream, be that a Prime subscriber, a Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3 subscriber, you get entered, or you can be entered into a giveaway each and every single month. You have to be in our Discord and link your Twitch and Discord accounts. If you don't do that, you don't have access to the loot drop channel. So if you can see that channel, you're entered into a giveaway. That's it. So make sure you can see it. If you're a sub, if you're not doing that, you're missing out on the chance to win free things. This month's prize, or last month's prize, was Resident Evil Village, plus some Resident Evil merch. We announced yesterday on social media. I updated the commands. Let me just type !loot drop. Boom. That link will have the draw video. If you haven't seen it already, we posted it in Discord. Cameron, aka Pakilaquent, won the Resident Evil goodies yesterday. And for the first time in a long time, we've been on the ball. So we have the next competition ready to be announced. Yay! So this month's competition, where is it? There we go. I can confirm for the first time is a choice. You get to choose this time. We've covered all bases. So we have a choice of either Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which is obviously all platforms, but we've kind of just pigeonhole that into Xbox just because it fits the narrative. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which is a PlayStation exclusive, or Mario Golf Super Rush, which is a Nintendo Switch exclusive. So you can choose one of those 3 games, whichever one you want, if you are the winner. You just have to be a sub on June the 7th. So if you are a sub on that specific day, that's the first Monday of the month, which is why it's the 7th. It's the same it always is. So if you're a sub on that day, we will throw everyone into a hat and we will draw one person to win. So Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, or Mario Golf Super Rush. Those are the prizes. Well, the prize, one of, which will be up for grabs next month. Nice! There you go. So we will tweet that on social media a little bit after the show. Nice. Before that, though, let's jump into some news. Does anyone want to shout free Fortnite? Shout at the YouTube or whatever, or ask the judge to get Fortnite back on mobiles. I don't know, whatever you want to do. If you missed it, that was the start of yesterday's show. Basically, there is an ongoing court case between Apple and Epic, and we've talked about that at length. Months and months we've spoken about it, like way back last year when the whole thing kicked off, when Apple booted Fortnite from the app stores and a number of other Epic stuff, but we don't need to know about that. We'll go into the intricacies, all of the intricacies that are being revealed from within that court case, such as this. Epic versus Apple court documents reveal why Sony was against crossplay for so long and how this changed. This is written by Sherif Saed at VG247. New documents unearthed in Epic's trial with Apple have revealed just how averse Sony has been to the prospect of crossplay. Not the greatest start for Sony, but we will continue. Crossplay is one of those things Sony has long had a hard line on for seemingly no reason. The platform holder initially blocked the ability for PlayStation players to play games with friends on other platforms. Just in case you are thinking, we've heard this? Yeah, we did. We went over this yesterday, but obviously this gives you slightly different reasons. We were talking about it from a monetary perspective, but let's continue. So at the start, this affected a small subset of games like Rocket League and several other smaller games, but it came to a head when Epic Games really pushed for it with Fortnite. Sony eventually allowed crossplay, and many multiplayer games have since launched with the feature across all platforms, including PlayStation. Thanks to court documents presented in Epic Games' trial with Apple this week, however, we now have a better idea of why Sony was so against it in the first place, what Epic Games was willing to do in order to convince Sony to change its ways, and what ultimately made it all work. As spotted by The Verge, the documents first show 2 emails dating back to 2018. One was sent by Epic to try and explain its case for crossplay and what the developers was willing to give for it to happen. The other is a response for Sony dismissing the idea of crossplay, calling it a feature that doesn't add anything to the experience on PlayStation. Epic's email included a number of proposals, most notably of which one was one whereby Epic would announce crossplay together with Sony on the latter's terms. Epic was also prepared to go out of its way to make Sony look like heroes. Epic was even happy to co-brand its E3 event at the time with PlayStation and offer any bonuses to PlayStation Plus members Sony wanted. The email written by Eric... actually, let me see if I can jump forward. So Sony's... Okay, I've skipped forward a bit. Sony's said... No, we covered that bit yesterday. Okay, and I'll go through it anyway, just in case you weren't here. I don't want to skip bits out anyway. Sony's senior director of developer relations at the time, Gio Corso, responded by saying that while he appreciates all things Epic is willing to do, he was not convinced that crossplay matters, regardless of how big the game is. Cross-platform play is not a slam dunk, no matter the size of the title. As you know, many companies are exploring this idea, and not a single one can explain how cross-console play improves the PlayStation business, said Corsi. Court documents also reveal how Sony ended up enabling the feature titled Cross-Platform Revenue Share. The 2019 PlayStation brand document details a system whereby Sony would be able to charge royalties in a case where a game's player base is largest on PlayStation, but spending isn't. This essentially allows Sony to charge partners fees for every month where PlayStation player spending falls below a certain percentage in a cross-play game, despite having a majority in player numbers. This document above illustrates 2 examples which break down this system fairly well, and it's clear Sony didn't want to potentially miss out on revenue those players would have otherwise spent on its own platform, where it could take a cut. This only goes into effect when a revenue for any given month exceeds $500,000 gross on PSN. Beyond that, the agreement also stipulates that developers of crossplay games share monthly revenue reports with Sony and that it has the right to audit their books and records. Though it is unclear whether this policy remains in place today, Epic CEO Tim Sweeney said in his testimony that Epic needed to agree to those terms in order for Fortnite crossplay to be enabled. Sweeney also revealed that Sony is the only partner that requires compensation for crossplay. In certain circumstances, Epic will have to pay additional revenue to Sony, said Sweeney. As reported by The Verge, if somebody were primarily playing on PlayStation but playing on iPhone, this might trigger compensation. So, yeah. It's baffling, bizarre. Ooh, let me jump to the split screen as well. So, essentially taking what we knew from yesterday and adding some more meat to the bones. PlayStation didn't want cross-platform play because of revenue. So they came out and they said they didn't want players on PlayStation to play with with Nintendo or Xbox because it was a safety thing. And we confirmed it yesterday that obviously that's not necessarily the case. Now we've got some meat on the bones. They wanted money. That is why there was nothing that would improve the PlayStation business in crossplay. That is why. Yikes. Anyway, babe, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've been reading the two corresponding emails that are in the article, and the one from PlayStation, man, like it's super defensive. It's like I don't want to do anything until anybody else does something first, see how it plays out, then we can just charge on top of it because we're the market leaders at this moment in time. But I'm just going to read like the first paragraph. It's not very long from the email that was sent back from Sony back to Epic. This is an absolute blinder. Sorry that you're feeling things. Sorry that you feel things are moving too slowly for Epic with PlayStation and cross-platform play. I was under the impression that there was no movement with Microsoft on cross-platform. Has that changed? Also, mobile is important to you. Our tournament APIs are important to us. They ask. I appreciate the points that you've listed in the mail. There are a lot of great ideas here for continued partnership. However, cross-platform play is not a slam dunk, no matter the size of the title. As you know, many companies are exploring the idea, and not a single one can explain how cross-console play improves the PlayStation business. Open to your thoughts, though, if Epic hasn't any ideas on this since we all talked last.
It's
so
much ego there.
It's so bizarre. Like, fair enough that the market leaders when it comes to creating a console experience, we understand that. Everyone understands that, whether or not you're red, blue, or red, blue, or green. They are the market leaders. But hoping to try and get information from Epic about how Microsoft are trying to put their cross-platform play in, has that changed? If it has, let us know, and then we can move accordingly. But what you're offering at the moment doesn't really suit us. The PlayStation experience is far beyond everything else until Microsoft do something first, and then we'll look to see how we can try and move something and then potentially line our pockets, because we're the only company that wants to line our pockets with this. Microsoft apparently don't charge for cross-platform, and PlayStation are the only ones that do that. Like I said, it's just full of ego in here. It's so bizarre.
It is. It is absolutely baffling. Just before we continue with that, let me just do some more shout-outs. Good morning to Enix. He says hello.
Hey.
I'll read.
Hi, Shag.
Welcome in. How's things? Are you listening to us in the car or are you in the office? What are you saying? Morning to Garlic Clark. Someone want to type Garlic Clark in the chat? Is Iceman around? Yeah. Can we have a Garlic? Nice. D-Mac, thank you very much for the host. Tharian Drake, I don't know if you're still here. Thank you very much for the raid with a party of 8. I did mention that I was in your stream, but I don't know if I actually thanked you for the raid. So thank you for the raid with a party of 8. Did that come in as we were starting off? It must have done. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Nice. Appreciate you that. Do you know what? I'm going to hit it just because we didn't get to experience the music. Yeah, thank you very much, Larry Drake. What a guy. Appreciate it. As I mentioned, every time we do a stream, we do appreciate anyone that follows, raids, views, whatever. It doesn't cost you anything to follow. Doesn't cost you anything to just lurk. Every one of those help us, so thank you very much. Morning Shaggers, says Johnny PSM. Question, streamer to streamer. How much is too much to spend on streaming background paraphernalia? Must get. Well, I mean, let's jump into Bibby's screen for a second. It individually, No, that's fine. Just individual purchases. Fine. Add it all up. I cannot speak. If I speak,
Yeah.
I am in trouble. And then, do you know what? Same thing over here as well. Individually, yeah, got some freebies, got whatever, some gifts, some birthday stuff, and then we'll just leave it there. We'll just leave it there. So you do you. You just do you.
Yeah.
There you go.
All depends on what you want. Like if you're paying for original artwork, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But I just tried to find stuff that I like and that not many people have. So yeah, like the Resident Evil stuff, I've never seen anybody have them posters before, which is why I really wanted them. I like the aesthetic as well.
It's good.
And then obviously my City shirt, this blue one is actually quite expensive, but I got it when the prices was quite down. It wasn't as expensive. But yeah, it's whatever. Oh, this might actually interest you behind here as well. Don't know if you can see that. I can't take it off the wall now because it's command stripped. But it is the Panini style stickers of the original PES players.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they're absolutely amazing.
Yeah. See, I also went bespoke. I mean, not everyone has Power Rangers helmets and stuff in their stream, but nobody has, not that you can quite see it because of the way the camera's positioned now, me with a level 3 helmet holding a Car 98 from PUBG. Nobody else has that on their wall. So yeah, shout out to the missus and Mr. Craig James Pitt for putting it together for me. Yeah. Okay, jumping back in. I mean, so obviously there's a huge chunk of ego. That email from Gio Corsi just sounds like someone with his chest out going, yeah, you need me. You need me. And we said yesterday, we kind of said, with balance, we understand PlayStation had the market. Why would they need to break their stronghold that they have over the market? Why would they need to do that? The only need to do that is what Luke25 says in the chat. Do companies not want to benefit the consumer? And that's it. It would have been a benefit to the consumer. Clearly not what they felt a benefit to PlayStation, which... You really want companies to see the two things going hand in hand. If the consumer is benefited, it's a benefit to PlayStation. We want to believe companies will be like that, not necessarily the case all the time. And this kind of shows it. This bit here, I mean, I'm not going to fully break it down because admittedly I don't fully understand it, if I'm being honest. But you can get the gist of it. So this is how they share revenue. So with cross-platform revenue, so cross-platform is revenue generated across all games. So let's say Fortnite generates 1 million in revenue. If 900 grand of that, aka 90% of the revenue, is on PlayStation, then there's no fines basically, because that's what it is. It's a cross-platform revenue share, as they've called it, aka fine. If they get 90% of all revenue across platforms, yeah, they're not going to fine them. If they enable cross-platform though, and only 60% of that revenue comes through PSN, so still more than half of the overall market share. If 60% of that comes through PSN, you're going to get fined 52.5 grand to enable cross-platform play on that game. That is crazy. The fact that for every £1 million spent, and you're still making 600 grand or 600 grand of revenue is still going through PSN, you're getting fined 52 grand for the ability to do that. That is bizarre. To say that Xbox and Nintendo are not charging that, but PlayStation are charging 52 grand in this instance for every million taken is bizarre.
Yeah,
I mean,
agreed.
Fair play to them. They've earned the position to be able to do that. But that's exactly the same reason why we're complaining. Or some people, not everyone, are complaining about Apple in the Epic versus Apple case. Apple are being too greedy. Are we going to see an Epic versus PlayStation case? Because surely that 52 grand, that's a huge percentage versus what Xbox are charging, no percent. Cross-platform revenue share. Oh, there we go. I didn't even notice that is revenue across all platforms multiplied by the PS4 gameplay share minus the PSN revenue times by 15%. Okay, that's basically it's a percentage that they take, a huge chunk as it is in that. So £52,500 out of that. Yeah, stupid. But do you know what? This is why I like this court case, because would we have ever got that information? No. Would we have got information on how much PlayStation were taking from that sort of stuff. I say that maybe this is something that is available somewhere else, but the fact that we're in this, actually it says highly confidential, attorney's eyes only. It says at the bottom of that asset. Awkward. Well, it's out to the world now. But yeah, we would never have got those numbers. So that's why this enjoy this court case. It may be a bit tedious if anyone's actually gone into it. If you're not doing anything tonight, about UK tea time-ish, 6, 7, 8 p.m. somewhere around there, you'll be able to turn it on Twitch and listen to the Game Awards. They are broadcasting an audio stream of the court case, so you can listen to the court case. I'm not saying it will be the most interesting and most entertaining thing. Chances are I'm not going to be listening to it, but what it does do for the people that are doing their due diligence, those heroes that are giving us the tidbits and the information that comes out of it, is we are starting to see things like this, and that gives me a good jumping off point for this story to jump into the next story, which is not too far away. Is this one, actually. Let me take the discussing now off screen as well. Document reveals how much Epic paid for each free game on its store up to September 2019. I'm going to stop there for a second. This is how interesting this court case is. It might be boring as feck to listen to, but we've already got stats on how much PlayStation are charging brands to use cross-platform play. Not just the fact that they are, the fact that we didn't even know a couple of days ago. We now know exactly what revenue share they are taking. Now we have costs for how much Epic has paid for each individual game. And you think of the ramifications that information has. Let's say Epic goes to... I mean, I've not looked at any of these stats in this, so the stats that I'm going to say now could be completely wrong versus the ones that are in the article. So let's say Epic goes to Capcom, because Bibby's there with his Resident Evil posters, and says, we want Resident Evil Village free on the Epic Game Store. And Capcom go, yeah, okay, that'll be £1 million, please. And Epic, who was sat there with like 16 million in a wad of cash behind them, going, oh, just 1 million? Yeah, nice. Yeah, there you go. You take that million. Epic just gives them $1 million. Capcom think they've done good. They don't really know what other people are paying, so it's fine. Now, Capcom can just flip out their fucking Rolodex and go, okay, our game, we'd take $1 million, but we see that they spent 15 million on Rockstar's GTA 5, which was a year old by that point in time, or a generation old. So we want 20 million, please. We know you're paying that kind of money. So this is quite big to see this level of information. Anyway, that's my numbers picking out my ass, just to give you some context. Let's actually jump into... it wasn't literally in my ass, by the way, or maybe it was. Let's jump into the actual news then. So, document reveals how much Epic paid for each free game on its store up to September 2019. This is covered by Yin-Poole, one of the heroes that I mentioned that does go through all of the content that comes out of the audio broadcast. Anyway, the tagline says, done deal. This is on Eurogamer, and it says, the Epic versus Apple trial keeps on giving. This time, we know how much Epic paid on a per-title basis for the free games released during the first 9 months of the Epic Game Store's life. A document spotted and tweeted by Game Discover co-founder Simon Carlos. Actually, I don't know if that's Game Discover co-founder or Game Discover co-founder. I'm going to go with founder because there's a space. Anyway, Simon Carlos lists all the free games released on the Epic Game Store in the 9 months to September 2019 and how much Epic paid for each of them. The list tells us, for example, Epic paid $1.4 million to get Subnautica as a free game. Team Meat's wonderful Super Meat Boy, on the other hand, cost just 50 grand. Elsewhere, Funcom's Mutant Year Zero cost a cool $1 million, whereas the Brilliant Fez cost 75 grand. It's not just indie games. Epic paid Warner Brothers $1.5 million for Batman Arkham's Go free on the Epic Game Store, and Ubisoft got a paltry 63 grand for For Honor. Overall, Epic spent nearly $12 million on nabbing 38 games to release for free in the first 9 months of the Epic Game Store's life. That's a few pennies in Fortnite money. Interestingly, the document shows what really matters to Epic, the user acquisition cost. This is worked out by dividing the buyout price by the number of new Epic accounts the free game secured. So in the case of Subnautica, which was redeemed 4.4 million times, the user acquisition cost was $1.74. That is, Epic reckons, it spent $1.74 acquiring each user who snapped up Subnautica. Some games cost Epic more during the period, some less. The aforementioned Mutant Mutant Year Zero, for example, cost Epic $5.05 per user. Super Meat Boy cost 52 cents per user. Epic is of course losing hundreds of $millions in its war against Steam. Do you know what? We can stop there because we get the idea. This is huge information for games brands. So Epic has just dropped 1.4 million sheets on Subnautica, and Super Meat Boy, which obviously is a niche game, comes along and takes 50 grand. If they knew that Epic was spending $1.4 million on sort of Subnautica, do you think they would settle for just 50k? What are your thoughts, Bib?
What about For Honor?
63 grand.
64. Yeah, Jesus Christ! Like, the game's better than that, surely. Like, it's not my kind of game, but 63 grand. That's compared to Subnautica. I thought Subnautica might be the niche title, and For Honor might be a little bit the one that people will probably want to download more of. But how do the Epic UA cost is how much they determined it would cost per person who downloads it? How do they predetermine how much a game's going to cost to be hosted on there? I'm still trying to get me. I mean, I'm thick when it comes to stuff like this anyway. I'm not very good at maths. I'm not good at working out equations and things like this. But if anyone knows, or if you know, an easy way of how they determined how much it cost to be able to buy that game outright, like is it just based on how many they think people are going to download, and then they'll put a UA cost against it?
Essentially, yeah. So they will have. There's a few ways to go through it, so this isn't necessarily guaranteed nailed on. Take this with a pinch, but from my experiences, they will have an idea of what you, as a user, is worth, and that "you" is a generic across the board phrase. They will know that on average, each user is worth $30 or whatever the number is. So if you can get a user for less than $30, the chances are you're going to be in profit. Obviously, that's averages. Some users will not spend any money, whereas some users will spend hundreds of dollars, and that averages out as $30. So they know that whatever fee they pay for a game, they can project that, okay, Subnautica will get us 1 million new users. And if we divide that price that the game's going to cost us, by the projection of new users, we can get a rough attribution cost that acquisition cost that user will cost us $4 a user or whatever the maths works out as, which is well below the $30 that we aim for. So that's profit to us, and that's how they will kind of work it. So they will work out what the average cost is for what the average value is of a user. As long as they get their acquisition costs lower than that, they are theoretically in the money. So that's kind of what they're doing. They're throwing lots and lots of money in to build up this user acquisition base in the hopes that then comes good going forward. So your cost as a user, your profit as a user or value is 30 quid every year-ish. So if next year you spend 30 quid and the year after you spend 30 quid and the year after you spend 30 quid, the idea is that you eventually start to make the money back. So they're spaffing out a lot of money now to make a shitload of money back in the future. But it's so dangerous, this, because like are they going to get the next EA game for 63 grand when EA have just seen that they spent $1.4 million on Subnautica? Yeah. Someone at EA has just been thrown out of a window. Absolutely.
It's such a dangerous long game that you may not winning. I mean, because there's some top tier games in this list that they've got for an absolute steal. And there's also some games that you think, okay, I don't know if that's going to do that well. Like Subnautica, I never would have been able to put just short of $1.5 million on that. Never in a million years. I don't know how it's sustainable. I genuinely don't. And I think that's what everyone's I think that's what everyone's been saying for a long time. Like, how is it sustainable that you're giving out at least 2 free games we have a segment on this show, Free Games Friday, and guess what? It seems to be every single time we bring it up, it's always on Epic. How are they able to sustain this long term, especially when they're giving out that much money? Like, obviously, they've got Fortnite behind them. They've got that kind of money, so they can potentially write a lot of it off. But you can only do that for so long because the bubbles, I don't want to say it's burst with Fortnite, but it's definitely not what it was 6 months ago, 12 months ago. How long can you keep this up for? Because it seems to be throwing out money left, right, and center at this moment in time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Like I say, they've done themselves a disservice now because everyone knows how much they're willing to part cash wise. So
that's
who's to say that the next game is that they're going to have to pay more for? Like they've shown the hand.
that's kind of the biggest thing for me is yeah, Fortnite will slowly start to reduce its revenue stream. It's probably still making enough to prop up the business for quite a long time. And if this user acquisition does start to bear fruit, then it will make sense and it will cover itself and it will pay itself. See, I actually see Fortnite's user acquisition model as something that makes more sense than Game Pass, because not Fortnite, Epic's user acquisition model, that makes more sense to me than Game Pass does, because they are spending a shitload of money on a regular basis, but it's not necessarily a continued basis. In theory, Epic can stop its free games whenever it wants. It's not something that they've swore to be doing forever. They are giving away free games. Whereas Game Pass can't suddenly stop giving you access to games. You are paying for that service. And if they stop adding new games to that service, people go, well, this is shit. So I need to pull back my subscription. So we know that this isn't something that's locked in, and eventually once it starts picking up some pace and you start to get more and more users on the Epic Game Store, and more users start to spend money, because with every acquisition, in theory, it's not always the case, but in theory, that is, I don't know how to say that, stays sad Jays. Well, thank you very much,
Jay-Z.
Son Jay-Z, thank you very much for the follow. If that's your name, do tell me in the chat, and I will correct it, whatever it was supposed to be. Thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate you being here. But yeah, I mean, in theory, each user acquired by Epic is potential profit forever going forward. So if you've got an Epic Games account, you've got it installed on your PC, and you just see a super deal, you'll throw £3 at it. You might throw another £3 somewhere else. You might spend £11 to get your £10 discount voucher and only spend £1 or fucking whatever. But all those little quids eventually add up to the point where Epic starts churning money. And at that point, if they pull their free games support or so on, or maybe they just have so many users on the Epic Games Store, they can then start to deflate the prices. Okay, we did spend 1.4 million on Subnautica. That's because we needed you to build up user base. We now have a user base of 150 million users on Epic or whatever regularly. So now, if you want to be on the Epic Games Store, you have to pay us rather than we paying you. And that's kind of how it flips. I understand how that makes money for Epic. Whereas Game Pass, I still don't see an exit strategy from Microsoft, to the point where, like, I don't know, is it a case of they have to have so many users on Game Pass that it becomes vastly profitable? I mean, maybe it is profitable already, we just don't have the data. And that's let's go full circle as he slaps his mic. That's where the beauty of this court case is. We don't know how Game Pass works, because there's so many assumptions of how the industry works, or where the data goes, or what the revenue means. Whereas this court case is showing warts and all where the money comes from, where the money goes. And like we say, in 10 years' time, Epic might be able to go, or in Epic's case, they said 2 years' time, but I think it's going to be more like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years' time. Then Epic will have a bit more control over their ecosystem. At the moment, they are hoping that their ecosystem thrives. So yeah, they can get away with spending 63 million on For Honor, but they can get stung for 1.4 million on Subnautica. I'm using stung as if it's a negative, just to build the example. But they're not going to get away with that now, because if they've paid 1.4 million to Subnautica, Ubisoft know that, EA know that, Konami know that. Anyone else who might release a game in the future knows that, well, if Subnautica's worth 1.4 million, the new Silent Hill, there we go, we said Konami, the new Silent Hill, well, that's massive. If Subnautica's worth 1.4, Silent Hill's been on for a while and has been a talking point for years, 6 million, please. Thank you. 6 million or not. And until Epic own their own thing. So yeah, this is the cost of it for me. You get to save a shitload of money with Apple and their service charges and so on, and you're fighting the good fight for the consumer, or so it seems. But you're going to get stung from every other brand in the industry, because you've just shown your cost list now, so they know what the charges are. So, could be a yikes. Could be an oof. Massive oof. Anyway,
A
let's
big
move.
12 months. Depending on the outcome of this court case, it could be a massive 12 months for Epic. Not saying that they're ever going to go under, but in terms of how much they end up paying for stuff, it could be that the free games end up disappearing. We never get to see them again, and they just try and find the money elsewhere.
I mean, I think the free games will disappear without a subscription, unless like Epic starts offering some form of subscription. But even then, I've already shared my concerns of subscriptions with like Epic Game Pass, not Epic, Xbox Game Pass, and how that balances and so on. So I definitely think subscription is the model. Just how that works, how you deliver that in a way that is sustainable. I'd love to see Epic having us getting to the point where they've got an installed user base and they have a subscription. But yeah, I can't see that. I do hope it works. I do like the idea of a solid competitor to Steam, and I do believe in a lot of Epic's bluster. I do also believe that a lot of Epic's posturing and looking good is part of the I want to be seen to looking good, but also I'm still a business that wants to take money off you as well. So I do believe there is a large chunk of that, and we've seen that with this over the last few days while the court case has been ongoing. Anyway, but yeah, I hope it works for them. I do hope it works for them because I hope it works, and I hope it takes them a long time for it to work as well, because that way we get free games fucking ages. I mean, if they suddenly start making money, shitloads of money, hand over fist, acquiring users left, right, and center, are they going to give everyone free games all the time? Why? They're probably not. As Sony have showed us already, where is the value to the PlayStation brand with crossplay? Where is the value to the Epic brand to give us free games? Eventually, they'll get to that point. So hopefully, they have to struggle for a little while longer, so we can continue to ride this free ride. Let me jump back into the chat. I've been looking at shirts from obscure Brazilian teams I've done Master League series with in the past, says Johnny PSM. Is that... okay, that is for your display. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. I do like a football shirt display, especially when it kind of... there's like some meaning, because as a streamer, it's a nice conversation starter. So like the fact that if Bibby had this current season City shirt, and it's like, okay, you've got a City shirt, but people see the brother logo on the City shirt behind him, that instantly goes, so you're a legitimate City fan then. Okay, do tell me more. And it starts a good conversation then. It's just like having a fucking Power Rangers helmet next to you. If people go, oh, Power Rangers, is that real? And then within 30 seconds I've got my hat off, I've got the helmet on, and I'm trying to do a stream where it just sounds like I'm in a bin. It's fine. It's nice conversation starters. So yeah, I like that sort of stuff. Where did we get to? Just copy Bibby and get a couple of cheap, crappy shirts in some frames, says Tito. Nice.
Ban him. Get him out of there.
Oh, nice. Badly drawn footballers, says Johnny PSM. Is it badly drawn footballers, Bib?
No, it is no score
draws. Yeah, no score draws. Yeah. Consumers are very cross. Platform, says Gary. Someone ban him. Gary, use your sword, ban yourself. Get out of here. Does Fortnite still make an absolute bomb? It does. Fortnite has propped up not only Epic, but so many things already. So the Unreal Engine and their ability to give the Unreal Engine away for free and then only start making revenue off of Unreal Engine once businesses start to make enough money and stuff, that will heavily be propped up by Fortnite, plus the Epic Games Store as well, obviously. So yeah, Fortnite makes an absolute bomb. And I hope it continues to make an absolute bomb, because it does allow Epic to push a lot of things forward. Whatever your opinions are on Epic, and whether you want the Epic Games Store or whether you like Fortnite or what, Fortnite being a cash cow, a lot of companies will just pocket that, and Epic are trying to put the money back into other things, purely for their own benefit as well. Not purely, but very much for their own benefit, but also they're counting on the fact that if others are benefiting, they will continue to benefit themselves. So I hope Fortnite does keep making money, because Epic are being... it's quite exciting to see such visible sharing of the wealth, to keep the wealth, but sharing of the wealth. It's good to see that. Graham just invented a new word, which I'm going to use moving forward. A wodge of money. Yeah, I don't know if that's just a Yorkshire thing or a northern thing, but a wodge is a bit like a wedge. But yeah, a wodge. There you go. The only thing I would say is Ubisoft will have seen more potential for microtransactions with For Honor. So 63k might not seem like much, but how much will people spend in that game otherwise wouldn't have? Oh, that's a good point. Very good point. Subnautica costs 1.4 million because it's that's all sales revenue gone. People have got the game, it's gone. I don't know if it's got microtransactions. I'm assuming it doesn't for the sake of argument. But For Honor, okay, 63 grand, that's a bit of cash now, but that's a user base of however many millions that haven't been able to spend money in For Honor before, but can now. So that does make sense. Gary Clark says, For Honor? More like Your Honor after that daylight robbery. See, that's better. He's redeemed it. He's brought it back. There you go. Nice. We appreciate that. All I know is you're guilty of bad punnery. Objection, says Tito. And on that bombshell, let's move forward. So the next story of the day, bit of Call of Duty. Nice. Tom Ivan at VGC says, new Call of Duty from Sledgehammer is built for next gen. Activision says, the game is looking great and on track for its fall release. I like this. Give us more that's built for next gen. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart looks the shit, despite not being my kind of game. Astro's Playroom is the shit, despite not being my kind of game. So give me something that looks and is the shit that is my kind of game. It's happening! So, yes, hopefully. Anyway, Activision Blizzard has confirmed that Sledgehammer Games is leading development of 2021's premium Call of Duty game. Quote, in particular, we are very excited for this year's premium Call of Duty release. President and Chief Operating Officer Daniel Allegre said during the company's first quarter earnings call on Tuesday. Development is being led by Sledgehammer Games, and the game is looking great and on track for its fall release. This is a built for next generation experience with stunning visuals across campaign, multiplayer, and cooperative modes of play designed to both integrate with and enhance the existing COD ecosystem, Allegri added. We look forward to sharing more details with the community soon. Hey, we're excited to build the charge on Call of Duty sharing. Can't wait to share more. Oh, balls. I didn't think it was going to take me out to fecking Twitter, but there you go. Undertaker meme. Yeah. Okay, let me take the browser off. I'll jump back and find the page. Don't want spoilers. Boom. Back. Jumping back in. So Sledgehammer previously developed Call of Duty games World War II in 2017 and Advanced Warfare in 2014 and co-developed Modern Warfare 3 in 2011 with Infinity Ward. This year's new Call of Duty game will also be set during World War II, so Graham won't be playing it at all. According to reports, VGC understands to be accurate. Nice. VGC know what Graham's doing. GG's boys. That Graham bit wasn't in there, obviously. Anyway, Call of Duty World War II Vanguard is expected to return to the Modern Warfare 2019 engine, IWA, which also powers Warzone after last year's Black Ops Cold War switched to an upgraded version of Treyarch's Black Ops 4 technology. The game will likely share weapons and progression with Warzone, but it's unclear how deep the integration with the Battle Royale title will go due to both scheduling issues and the significant change in time of setting. If we look ahead for Warzone later this year, there will be some other really fun integration with the great work that Sledgehammer Games is leading for this year's new premium release. Activision President Rob Kostich said on Tuesday's earnings call, it's worth noting that Sledgehammer is a studio now that is also stronger than ever. The studio has expanded its very talented team across its Foster City and Melbourne locations, and now it's expanding further to Sledgehammer Toronto. Most importantly, at the end of the day, we believe fans are going to be really, really excited and are going to love what the studio is building. Activision claimed in April that over 40, we don't need the other stats for other bits. The gist of it, though, is the new game from Sledgehammer will be a Call of Duty set in World War II that is built for next gen. What are your thoughts, babe?
I'm actually going to ask you a question here, Graham. So Call of Duty, we know is going to be I don't want to say a fantastic game, but we know it's going to be a game that sells extremely well, especially on a new console. That said, what can Call of Duty do going forward that is different from the previous Call of Duties? Because this is such a sweeping generalization of Call of Duty, but they are all the same. Like, it's just different settings, different guns, different locations, but like the same game modes. Like the biggest thing that they did to Revolution, the biggest thing that they did to rejuvenate Call of Duty is bring out Warzone to make a battle royale within the game. But what do they need to do that they are not trading on the same? They're just making another Call of Duty World War II game. That's fine. I like World War II. I like the old World War games. I think they're brilliant. But what do they need to do now to ensure that they stay the market leaders going forward and that it doesn't feel the same? Because we did go through a couple of years where people was kind of getting bored of Call of Duty, and we had things like Infinite Warfare, Advanced Warfare, which kind of like Ghosts a little bit. Not everyone wants to play these games anymore. Well, they didn't want to play the game. They were getting tired of Call of Duty. What do they need to do now to be able to make this game survive another 10 years? Because I genuinely can't think of something. Well, I'm not a game designer, so it is what it is. But what can they do to keep people interested in Call of Duty? Because I feel like it's just going to be Call of Duty with prettier graphics this time round. I don't think that's enough.
Well, let's ask Steel Bosnia, who's just joined us in the chat. That's Steel Bonsai, by the way, just a West slip of the tongue or typo or something. Called him Steel Bosnia, so welcome in, Bosnia. And well, all of Bosnia, welcome in. We appreciate you guys being here. Do you know what? It's a difficult one. Is a Call of Duty with improved graphics enough? This year, I would say yes. And the reason I say that is because we are starved of next gen. So it was like FIFA 2014, was it? Was an okay game. It was next gen or last gen for the first time. And it did well enough because it was first real foray into next gen kind of thing. Yeah. Currently, Call of Duty is great, but it's also last gen. Something that pushes the boundary and fully integrates RTX and is built for systems that take care of the velocity architecture on Xboxes, I think it was, and fully utilizes PlayStation's customs SSDs and all of that jazz. Then yeah, that's great. That will last for 1 year though. After that, it's like, okay, great. Now what? And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that question is. How can they make that more relevant? I think there will be a natural drop-off, if I'm honest. And that's based off of previous experience. Call of Duty was great. And people loved it. The storyline was exceptional. And it brought you to new worlds. You got to fight in new wars. You got new experiences. And then people have done a Call of Duty story and it starts to drop off. And then multiplayer comes in COD 4. And it's like, okay, this is great. And then multiplayer becomes, you've got Team Deathmatch and you've got Search and Destroy and you've got Headquarters and you've got, oh my God, fucking amazing. And then you've got hardcore Search and Destroys. And then eventually it starts to drop off because people have seen it and done it. And then Call of Duty fell into that advanced warfare, infinite warfare, all of the robotic wall-running jumpsuity warfares that nobody gives a shit about. And then eventually, not only do they give us boots on the ground, but some bright spark that goes, okay, well, let's copy what's happening with Fortnite and PUBG and bring in a battle royale into it. And we'll bring you Blackout, which was shit. But then we'll bring you Warzone the year after, which was exceptional. Yeah, nice. So they ride the wave. But we've already seen Call of Duty had a wave with single player. It had a wave with multiplayer. And it's now riding a wave with Warzone. You can only ride that wave for so long. I mean, I love Battle Royale as a genre, just like I loved multiplayer as a genre. I don't play multiplayer anymore. I haven't played multiplayer in a COD game on any of the free XP weekends or free access weekends or whatever you want to call it because I've done it. Same but different. I don't play racing games anymore because I know they're different, but I've had my fill of that sort of content. Unless something pushes the boundaries for me, not so much. At the moment, BR I will take all day. So the next COD, I mean, my plans are to jump into Warzone tonight. I reinstalled it on my PS5 last night. I will be playing Warzone tonight. The first time I played Warzone since last year. I've not played any whilst Black Ops has been around. So jumping into Verdansk in 84, yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, I'll get absolutely slapped around for a bit, no doubt, because everyone's fucking legends at it and I'm brand new. But whilst I'm excited now, that might not progress. It might progress for a couple of years, but then after that, something needs to change. So the fact that Warzone is... How can I put it? If they're giving me a new game every year and they're just changing the story, suddenly you go to Modern Warfare, back to the 84, back to 2000, back to, World War II, to jump back to 2053 or whatever, and you're currently changing the landscape every time, that gets tiresome because that's what people have had. That's nothing new. Changing things around isn't, how can I say it? That's revolution, not evolution. And I think video games need to evolve rather than create a brand new something revolutionary every year. You don't get it because you get bored of it's not really revolutionary, but you're telling me it's revolutionary every year. So how can Call of Duty push forward? For the next gen, absolutely, with just next gen. For the next game, next gen is enough. After that, I don't know. I'd like to see.
Yeah. I've seen Bearded Edge's comment saying, I think a yearly release is needed for a competitive perspective. The CDL would be dull without it. I agree to an extent. But when you've got CS:GO that's been going for 10 years and is still the absolute pinnacle of first-person competitive shooters, I have to slightly disagree with that at the same time. I think Valorant is making big strides into becoming a massive competitive shooter, and I can see that game not changing for at least the next 2 or 3 years. They may nerf some stuff. They may change the meta. But when you have a game like CS:GO, that should be the blueprint for every single competitive esports shooter going forward, because they don't change that much. The maps are pretty much the same, but it's all about skill gap. If the game's good enough, you don't have to change much. But if the only way that Call of Duty is ever going to make money is by bringing out a new game every single year and then changing the time of when that game came out, whether or not it be the Cold War, World War One or Two, Advanced Warfare, so like a modern day, if a war was to take place, a World War Three kind of thing. That's the only way that they can make money. I mean, Warzone is making the money hand over fist, but it's free to play. So it depends on what business model they go through. Again, it all comes down to, if your game's good enough, you don't really have to keep on changing it. It's still one of the biggest. You can go each and every evening onto Twitch and see the ESL streaming CS:GO competitive. They'll have 60,000 people watching it. There isn't an esports game that comes close to it. Obviously, there's things like League of Legends. There's obviously things like Dota and things like that. But when it comes down to a competitive first-person shooter, nothing comes close. And it's because they've got everything so right. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah, it is a definite conversation of interest. It is. The annual release cycle is huge and is pretty central to Call of Duty and to sports games in general. And you would say, if you're going to play an annual release, you are stereotypically a console gamer. Whereas if you're going to play a longer life cycle content, that is a PC game. So the likes of the Dotas and the StarCrafts and the Leagues and the CSs and so on, those are PC games and those are the big ones. So yeah, Call of Duty kind of needs the annual release because of Call of Duty. But if Call of Duty wants to break out of that mold and be a true esport, that's a shit phrase. I know it's a shit phrase. Jordan's probably rolling his grave now because I've said that kind of thing. But to contend with the triple A's, not that he's dead. Fuck's sake, rolling his grave. Fuck shit. Someone's killed Jordan. Oh no. But to contend with the bigger triple A esports, that annual release cycle holds it back because every year, I know it kind of doesn't fit with the CDL. The annual release cycles fits with the CDL stuff, but that also hampers it. So every year you need to have a new roster. The new roster is kind of probably going to be the same as last year, but not necessarily going to be the same as last year because it could be different this year because the game changes and a new engine, even though it's meant to be the same game, will have different intricacies. And you see it with you look at any football esport or any sport esport. You will have someone that will be the world champion one year and then could drop off into obscurity the next year because of the game changes. And annual releases don't support long-term careers in esports generally. Not definitively. Obviously, you could just look at Tex, for example. He's a football guy that came out of nowhere and has been a mainstay since, up there or thereabouts. But generally, annual esports, it's harder to have a longer career, harder to build a longer career in esports. So if you are building an annual game, it's already going to be harder to have a longer term esports foothold because your game changes every year. It's harder for Optic to invest in FIFA esports because it's going. If they invest a shitload of money in building up Tex, not that obviously he plays for Optic, he's what, FaZe, Fnatic, I can't remember which one now. But if they were to invest in Tex and the game changed next year and it wasn't great for Tex and he dropped off, oh well, that's him gone. And yeah, so yeah, the annual stuff, it fits Call of Duty's model, but Call of Duty in that sense doesn't necessarily fit esports. So it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one.
I would absolutely love to see a Call of Duty game that survives long term. that they don't have to tweak that much. Just make a very, very, very good shooter. They've got the mechanic, they've got the engine, they've got the mechanics there for them to be able to do it. It's just that they seem to be bringing out a patch every week or so, which changes everything. Like there must be so much flip flopping going on around in that between social media and the devs and everybody else in between, that they just keep on feeling, okay, we've overpowered that too much, we need to take that down, but then something else to get overpowered. Like, make something that can survive the test of time. And I understand that probably won't make them much, and the CDL is it makes enough money for either a few viewerships or sponsorships or whatever. It's a massive competition, but I feel like they could make something that stands the test of time. Surely that should be the biggest thing, especially when it comes to esports. Like who is it that said it before? Was it Tito maybe? That mentioned something about here we go. Really, games like COD and sports games should be more like Fortnite, a base game with season updates. I absolutely agree with that. Just make the game like the World of Warcraft model is the best one of all time. I know it's an MMO and it's very hard to transfer that kind of thing over, but just make a game with foundations and build on top of it, rather than just putting everything to the scrap pile 10 months after because you're working on the next game. Like that, for me, I want to see Call of Duty having 60,000 people week in, week out, because there's more people. There's kids that have been playing it for 10 years from the age of 10 that are now in their early 20s that are extremely good at it, like very much like the CSGO thing. I know I keep on saying CSGO, but again, it's the closest thing that I can think of that is the absolute pinnacle of esports. Whenever I think of esports, I think of CSGO straight away.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's like football. Let's use real world football. The Premier League, I mean, I know they do butcher the rules every season, so it's probably not the best example, really, but the Premier League doesn't change the fundamentals of football year in, year out. And I know the fundamentals of COD don't change, but how those fundamentals are deployed mean that while the fundamental theory is the same, the actuality is different, and that is what kind of hampers esports as a general. But that's kind of what I was getting at with Jordan. He's asking what I said. I can't actually remember what I said, but I remember the fact that I said that you were dead. Essentially, I said you roll in your grave.
It's a roll in your grave. Yeah.
Like oh fuck, oh shit, John's died. But yeah. Anyway, let's jump back up through the comments. Gagadar's gone lurking. I wish PUBG looked and ran the way COD does, says Bonsai. I absolutely hear. Give me the PUBG gunplay. Give me the PUBG theory. The PUBG circles. The loot kind of stuff, the way that the team play works and stuff, but get it to look as good as COD. I would take that all day. I haven't played it for ages. The last time I played it on my One X, the textures took longer to load than my mate's space consoles, so I'd drop in with nothing rendered, no loot while they were looting left, right, and centre. I'm guessing that's PUBG. It sounds like PUBG, or it used to sound like PUBG. It doesn't do that anymore for me. But yeah. Sometimes it does occasionally, but not very often. Fancy some Warzone tonight then, Graham, says Callum. I'm actually on with Martin and James. So does it do squads? If it does, then yeah, jump in. Bonsai says, yes, Graham, the previous one sucked, which is why I stopped playing COD games. And then I came back to World War II and still felt Battlefield was better, but then tried Warzone and Cold War, and yes, both look and run great, but I still go back to PUBG and Battlefield, still prefer them over COD, even though these two last COD games have been 10 times better than before. I can see that. I think COD have nailed now with Warzone. Do I think it's the best shooter ever? No. Do I think it's the best team game ever? No. Do I think it nails a lot of things exceptionally well? Yes. The pacing of it is really fun. It's really good to play with friends. The season pass mechanic, the idea that they've got great skins, and it's just such a good, fast vibe that they've nailed now, which is what I'm saying in terms of the wave idea before. So you had the single player, and then you went to multiplayer, and now you've got Battle Royale. They are riding that Battle Royale wave exceptionally well, which is why Warzone is good. Does it do anything particularly well, better than anything else? Maybe not so much, but the one thing it does well is basically, I'm saying it's a jack of all trades, but very well. It covers everything, which is why it's good. In before COD Crimean War, says Iceman. Do you know what, actually? Justin Timberlake's from there. He was born just near the Crimea River. There you go. So, there you go. Toby Lee joke recycled for you all. You're welcome. Yeah, still happens actually. Fingers crossed for my birthday, May 21st. The missus surprises me with a Series X. Mrs. Bonsai, if you're listening. First name Steele, Mr. Bonsai, first name Steele, would like the Series X. There you go. There's no more subtle hints than that. It's your boy Josh. Good morning, dude. Afternoon now, actually, although you did ask it when it was morning. Have you guys already talked about the Epic versus Apple stuff? Yes, we have. We covered a couple of stories on there, but as Tito says, you can catch up on demand after the show. Exclamation mark YouTube. There you go. Using that sort of power. What a guy, Tito. We like it. You like it. Did you just say esports? Says Enix. Graham tempting fate here. Jordan will be shitting himself all day now. Final destination, Manchester. Jordan rolling in his grave. Fuck. Oh no. Question for my fellow loyal PUBG player, Graham. Are you getting the next PUBG season pass? 1 second. I'll put my PUBG hat on, literally. Yes. But am I disappointed by it? Yes. PUBG. What is it? It's a really cool battle royale experience. What do I want to show off my battle royale? My experience with my buddies, me grinding out results with grenade strikes and sniper shots. And do I want armor and ammo and cool military camo, or do I want a season pass themed around pajama party? Guess which on PUBG game it. So it's just another swing and a miss for me, content wise. That it seems like they're trying to aim it at 12-year-old kids, but what Fortnite does is gives 12-year-old kids Travis Scott and stuff like that they actually want, marshmallow music and things like that. Do 12-year-old kids sit there and go, oh, I'd love to look like I was dressed like I was ready for a pajama party? No. And it feels like they're trying to aim for the Fortnite audience, but swinging and missing. So I will get the pass for the missions and to support the game. But it's just, content-wise, it's another poor content decision. I like the advances to the map. I didn't like the idea of the tweaks to Erangel bridges. Spoke about it on the scoop a few weeks back. The more I think about it, I do quite like that idea. I'll see how that plays out. But the content, the pass, mate. Anyway, to be honest, COD is dead, says Enix. Even Warzone is boring, dictated by custom loadouts. No, I see that, but it's a good change of pace for someone like me who doesn't play it a lot to jump in. Not only that, to get your custom loadouts, you have to be decent enough to have saved up enough money to paid for it, and that either is killing people that are going to be better at the game than me, which is obviously pushing me into fights, or just looting my ass off to try and find enough money to pay for my custom loadout drops. So yeah, it's good. It's good for me. I don't have that facility in PUBG, so I don't mind it. It's a change of pace. I heard something about there being more stupid looking skins on the pass and people not wanting PUBG to start going down the route of Fortnite. Well, there you go. I've just spoke about that. There you go, nice. People hate on Fortnite, but it works for that game. When I played it with my son, and I'm shit at building, but I can see why people play it. It's fun. I mean, me and Bib can't build for toffee. Well, we try. We can build a couple of ramps, but we're fucking absolute ballers when it comes to guns out. So yeah, that's what it is.
Well, it's we're using the Pokemon example when the the latest Pokemon game came out. Like it for people who are massively into frame rates and visuals and rendering distance and stuff like that, it got slagged off by everybody. However, kids aren't asked about that. They're playing a Pokemon game. Like they're not going onto social media and complaining about the draw distance not being that far. They just want to play a Pokemon game because I don't want to say it's intended for them only, but they're probably going to be the mass consumer of this product. Like it's just a game to them. I wasn't that asked about it until fucking hell. We talk about retro games and stuff like that. It still doesn't bother me, but I can see why a lot of people dislike a lot of games of that ilk, because essentially when sometimes it's not particularly made for you, your opinion count as much when there's millions of kids that are still playing the game. Probably not, but don't want to offend anyone, do I?
Of course you do. That's what we're here for. It brings the people back. They don't know what it means, but it's provocative.
Keeps people going.
Yeah. Where did we get to? I want that hat, says Steel Bonsai. Oh, you can't have this hat. Sorry, mate. Let me change my hat. I'm just going to take my hat off and put my hat on. There we go. That's better. That's better. He's got all the PUBG hats. Okay, this one has just come off the wall though, so it's got a piece of cardboard in it, so I need to take it off. Hat hair. Look at the fringe. Look at the fringe. Hat hair. Anyway. PUBG is an exclusive within its game. It's the only battle royale game in the world that runs at 6 FPS. 7 FPS on a good day. Graham's going to hate me now. No, It's fine. You're entitled to your opinions, even though they're entirely wrong. PUBG is legendary. Shut your fucking mouth. But it's fine. Whatever, mate. Whatever. Okay, we're going to pick up the pace because we are churning time here. So we'll pick up the pace. Jump into the next bit of news. One for Bib. We won't stand it too long because we know what he's like when he gets excited. I mean, just look on the posters on the wall behind him. God's sake, don't fire him up. Anyway, Resident Evil's producer says Village was balanced based on feedback that Resident Evil 7 was too scary. Do you think 7 was too scary, Bib? Too scary? Do you think it was scary to begin with?
Imagine a survival horror game being labeled too scary, but anyway.
Yeah, I know. A game that I'm playing for jump scares scared me. Okay. Anyway, it's always our goal to create something that anybody can feel comfortable playing, says the tagline. This is written by Tom Ivan at VGC, and it says, Resident Evil Village producer Tsuyoshi Kanda has said he doesn't want players to be in constant fear when playing the upcoming horror game. What? In an interview with Axios Gaming, included in its latest newsletter, Kanda said Village's development team didn't want to frighten off players after some feedback suggested the game's predecessor was too scary. When we develop a new Resident Evil game, our goal is not always to make it scarier than the previous title, but find a balance to deliver a scary but fun experience for players, he said. Excuse me. Some of the feedback we received regarding Resident Evil 7 was that it was too scary to play, Kanda added. In one regard, that's exactly what we were striving for, so it's a huge compliment for us. But at the same time, it's always our goal to create something that anybody can feel comfortable jumping in and playing, so we eased up on the tension to curve in Resident Evil Village, resident to Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, so that players aren't in constant fear. While Resident Evil 7 puts players in a series of confined spaces as if the walls of the Baker Mansion were closing in on them, Resident Evil Village's relatively open environments aim to create tension differently. For Resident Evil Village, we took an entirely different approach with the openness of the village and the players not knowing what might be lurking beyond the trees, says Candace said. Something we also always have to pay attention to is the tension curve. We also find that people grow immune to fear if they're consistently pitted up against a tense situation or environment. Those moments of solace act as a buffer to make sure that people aren't completely desensitized to the horror. The save rooms that you often see in many Resident Evil games is a great example of that, where players can take a deep breath and know they are safe. Resident Evil Village is the 10th main game in the Resident Evil series and the sequel to Resident Evil, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we understand that. But the gist is they've tried to go for a bit of balance. Do you know what? The title sounds a bit daft when you sensationalize the headline. They don't want it to be too scary. What the fuck? But when you drill down into it, it makes sense. Do they mean they're watering the game down and not making it scary? I wouldn't quite say that. It sounds like they want the game to be scary, but they want to be smart about the way they're doing it anyway. That's my thought. Have you read through this article, Bib? Obviously, you had to leave the room through that, and you're muted now, by the way.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, sorry. I've been dying for a piss for like the last 20 minutes, and I just thought, right, I've already read this article. I'm just going to run to the toilet as fast as I can and come back. Yeah, I mean, this Resident Evil 7. It was, for me, it was a spiritual successor to PT. It was let's say a corridor shooter, but it was very narrow spaces so you could only really go forward and backwards. There wasn't that much free area to be able to roam and explore everything, which is that feel of claustrophobia. Is that a word? Claustrophobia?
Yeah.
I know it's claustrophobic, but that claustrophobic feeling of being in a confined space, there isn't that much. There isn't that much of an area to be able to play with. That suited me down to the ground. I absolutely loved that part of Resident Evil 7. I feel like it was definitely the right thing to be able to do to make it first person so that you can feel everything. This, like you say, I think it's kind of been sensationalized, but I hope to God that they haven't watered it down because they feel it's too scary for some people.
Yeah,
that's what I don't want, because that's the thing that brought Resident Evil back into everybody's hearts and souls. That's a little bit lame, but
hearts and minds is what you mean.
Yeah,
that's
like,
fine.
That's what Resident Evil should be. You should be absolutely shitting yourself at the prospect of what's on the other side of the door.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I hope to God that hasn't been ruined with this. I know the area of the village is a hell of a lot bigger than what we played on with the last Resident Evil 7 game. So I'm hoping that they haven't tweaked that too much and that we get something very similar to what we've got with Resident Evil 7. We only have 2 days. I mean, my game got dispatched today, so hopefully we should have it by Friday and we're able to boot up that stream after the scoop and we get to play through it.
Quick one in the chat. Who will be watching Bibby play Resident Evil Village? Obviously, he's done his playthrough ever since he joined the ice cream team. He's been every game that's come out. He's done a playthrough. Who will be watching him do the playthrough? Just asking. Show your hands. Yeah. No, I agree. Is the game called Resident Friendly? No. It's not. If you want resident friendly, go find another game. This is not what this is. It's Resident Evil. You're dealing with the evils, whatever that may be. So the game is going to be scary. Sensationally, saying that they've made it balanced because Resident Evil was too scary. Naturally, the opposite. What you would take away from that is that they've made it less scary. That's not really what they're saying. They say that they're happy the fact that they've made Resident Evil 7 scary because that's what they intended to do. They wanted you to shit your pants. And people did. Everyone that's played that game that I've watched has shit themselves. Not literally, or hopefully not literally. Although maybe, you never know. So they're saying they don't want to take away the scariness. They want to be smarter with the way that they do it. And there was echoes of a comment that I'm pretty sure it was Kojima on Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom Pain or Ground Zeroes. In the build-up to the release of one of those, Kojima basically talked about stress in players, saying that if you put a player under stress and you keep them in a stressful situation, you desensitize them to the stress. And desensitized is a word that's actually used in this article for talking about fear. Stress and fear are the same kind of emotions. If you put someone under stress, like the idea of obviously being eaten by a big fuck-off werewolf versus the idea of being found by a guard, it's the similar sort of stress, although the underlying bits are obviously different. But if you put that on and then keep that on forever, people just become, okay, well, this is just, I'm in the alert situation, the guard's going to find me. Or I'm in a situation where a werewolf's tracking me. It's just the same. It's always the same. You don't feel the peaks and the troughs. So that's kind of what they're getting at, meaning that they don't want it to be too full on all the time, or at least I hope that's what they're getting at. If it is numbed and you just, it's like, rather than, fuck that, shit my pants, or whatever, to a, arg, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer sort of the end thing, then nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll find out on Friday when Bibby does his playthrough to see if he shits himself. And absolutely, when he's not looking, I will be turning up the volume of the alerts and Streamlabs and changing them to rather than a "Did we just become best friends?" alert when someone follows to so Bibby goes what the fuck? Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, like, I want to be stressed playing this game. Like that's what I play survival horror games for. I don't play for a good time. Like Kasim just said, Village definitely more of an action game. Smart horror is a small part. It doesn't fill me with confidence. I mean, I've been saying this since we started to see all the trailers. It does look like it's taking a little bit of a step back in terms of how petrified I'm potentially going to be. We'll just have to wait and see. We haven't got long now. But yeah, I hope to God that I do have that stress. Like, I'd love to be able to play with a heart rate monitor. I think that'd be really good because it'd just be pure stress. But that's what I want. That's what I play these games for. If I wanted to play an action game, I'd play something else completely. But yeah, I hope I'm being proved wrong.
Well, we'll find out on Friday. Jumping back. Oh, I missed that one. Asim saying, yup, dead, boring game, 100 million players. I see what you're doing. So surely that's the fucking point of a Resi game, says Gary. Don't want to be too scared? Go and play something else. Exactly. Yep. So they've neutered the game because people think a game is made to be scary. Made to be scary is too scary? Fuck off, says Ashman. Exactly. I mean, if that's what it is, if that's how it's ended up, then it's a shame, because that's where people power can be a negative. We want brands to listen to us, but also you need to have conviction in your creative direction. And if you, it's like, what's the analogy? Is it like if an elephant was designed by a committee, it would be something completely different, or something something like that. I can't remember. An animal designed by a committee. Someone Google it or whatever and tell me what it is. It's basically, if you get too many chefs, you spoil the broth. That's kind of the idea. Listening to communities is wonderful for video games, but taking all of community feedback and putting everything in can just piss away what you're aiming at. So take it, but take it with a pinch. And that's kind of what we're asking for. So hopefully they've done that. Hopefully it's not something flat, and hopefully we absolutely get to see Bibby full on soil that entire room that he's in on Friday, like wall to window, from the window to the wall. The shit drops down the wall. Bibby has to crawl out of the room as we go into the next news article because I ran out of things to say. Okay, take the discussing now off. Let me see if there's anything else before I jump off this. Never played a Resident Evil game, says Iceman. Oh, actually, I missed one where Bonsai was saying he shits himself. That's exactly why I don't play these games. Not ashamed to say I'm a wimp with these types of games, but fair play to whoever does play them and enjoy the fear factor. I'll happily watch someone else play them, but am I playing it myself? Hell no. By the way, Grizzle, you can get pizzas from Rudy's American Pies and Double Zero for 6p on Deliveroo today. Do you know what is this is purely for people in Manchester. There's a deep dish place called American Pies, which looks incredible. I've showed it to Bibby, I've showed it to Jordan, and we got it a few weeks back. Massively disappointed. Genuinely let down. I probably will never order a pizza from there ever again. It's a shame. Anyway, Capcom to announce a friendly version in the series, Resident Fluffy Unicorns Village. There you go. Fair play to Bibby playing these games, but in the words of Simon Cowell, it's a no from me, says Bonsai. It's all right, you can watch him. Where Ethan has a tea party with Lady Dimitrescu, or whatever her name is, and her mins. I get scared and jumping up when I play PUBG, and someone pops up and starts shooting me. Oh, we've all had that. Anyway, final news story of the day. Jumping ahead to wrap things up, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and others join Stadia Pro. For all of the one person watching this that made join Stadia, stopping for a second actually, Mr. Gary Clark, I saw you prodding that weapon that jumped into our mentions. Anyone that watched the scoop a couple of weeks back will have heard me talking about how 6 months to the day after a conversation that was had on social media between me, Gary, and Ben Winstano, aka Ben Ward, from Next Gen Base, we're having a conversation on social media about how Stadia, one of the guys who was high up at Stadia was basically saying content creators should pay Stadia for the ability to use their games rather than Stadia paying for marketing, like is the kind of word. Basically, he didn't understand content creators. And the gist of that was if they have decisions like this and conversations like this, and this is their outlook, we'll be surprised if Stadia is still here 6 months later on. Anyway, some Stadia fanboys clearly bookmarked that because 6 months to the day later, they responded and going, well, Stadia's still here and it's still going very strong. So, Anyway, there was an article about someone leaving Stadia. So, Gary, rather than letting it lie because we just kind of told him to shut the fuck up a couple of weeks ago, Gary just shared this article of going, some creative director has left. So yeah, Stadia's going really, really wrong. Anyway, Gary, I saw that. There you go. I tagged you in the end as it was getting ridiculous and didn't want you getting bombarded with notifications. Oh no, I this morning started looking to see how the conversation progressed because I love watching Twitter beef. Although I did block that person, so I had to allow to see his replies because he was just an absolute fanboy. But anyway, fanboys be fanboys, and it'll be good news for fanboys because Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and others have joined Stadia Pro. This is written by Stephany Nunneley at VG247. It says Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order joins 3 other games on Stadia Pro. The action-adventure epic Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order launched on Stadia in November last year, but as of today, it's available in Stadia Pro. Subscribers can claim it now and play instantly alongside the other 25 existing games in their Pro library. Ooh, 25 games. Game Pass is trembling in its boots. Anyway, other new Stadia Pro games include Trine 4, The Nightmare Prince, which I've been looking forward to play, Hotline Miami 2, wrong number, and Floor Kids. I love Floor Kids and Wall Kids as well as Ceiling Kids. I've heard of all of these games. Anyway, don't forget this Friday, May the 7th, Resident Evil Village releases on Stadia Store as well as other platforms. If that article in its entirety, let me say, some games have come to Stadia Pro, which is the paid subscription for Stadia, and their headline game is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Does that compete with Game Pass? No. Does that compete with the games that you're getting free on PS Plus every month? It doesn't to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. Instead, Jedi Fallen Order was my game of the year potentially for 2019. So I love that game. But it's also a game that came out in 2019. So yeah, great. Big addition. So Stadia, if you're a Stadia user, I'm pissed. The reason I'm pissed is because we paid for 2 Stadias, didn't we, Bib? And yeah, it's nice to see some stuff coming to Stadia. So if you are a Stadia user, apologies for my negativity. You're getting some free stuff, but you've already got it if you've played it anywhere else anyway. So there you go. Fun times. You got EA access. I think you get it with that EA Play, whatever it's called. You get it with that. So yeah, I've got it already. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, and negativity over. Stadia is getting a few extra games for Stadia Pro. So if you are into the Stadia environment, if it is working for you, GG's, enjoy it. If you are a Stadia Pro user, GG's, because you have got extra games, which is all you need, all the games that you can get. If you're enjoying it, fill your boots. It's not for me until something changes, but that is where we will put a pin in the show. Thank you everyone for sticking around for an hour and 20 minutes-ish. Another long one. That's what she said. Appreciate you all being here. I did change my Wi-Fi router last night for the third time in 2 weeks. The show hasn't dropped out, he says. Famous last words. So nice. Hopefully we get more solid streams. We've fixed the mic issues. We're potentially fixing the Wi-Fi issues. Things you love to see. It's almost like we're streamers and we're Twitch partners and things like that. Oh my god, this is exciting times. Anyway, we're gonna jump off. Are we playing some State of Decay, babe?
Yes, we can do.
Yeah,
sounds good to me.
Nice. If you want to see some State of Decay,
first, though.
What's that?
Gonna get some dinner first, though. I'm starving. I've not even had a breakfast yet.
Yeah, I agree. I had Nutella in porridge this morning, which was beautiful, by the way. But yeah, I need some beef, some meat and stuff. Anyway, we are going to disappear. If you want to see some gameplay, come join us for State of Decay 2 as we continue to build Uploadia. And when I say that, what I mean is baby steps back into Uploadia and sees the shit show that I've kind of pushed it into with last Friday's stream. Rip Brewski. Also, shout out to Chucky Boy who was watching the VOD last night and saw Brewski get deaded. So, yeah. We will be back in about half an hour-ish with that. But before that, Bib, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, thank you very much for joining us each and every... Oh.
You what?
Shogun with the sub. You what?
You what? Says the TTS.
Appreciate it. Cheers. Nice one, Shagger. But yeah, thank you very much for joining the show today, ladies and gentlemen. But if you want to help shape our show, there is 2 ways that you can do that. First of all, find us on social media at Ice Cream Littles across all major social media platforms, or find us on Discord. If you are watching this on any of our on-demand services, look in the description below. All the links that you need to get involved will be there. But there is an area in our Discord called The Scoop. All we need from you is a URL plus your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day.
Well, just like today, will be tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Ish.
10 a.m. ish. As we mention every day, we go live at 10 a.m. ish. The reason there's an ish is because we work in the games industry, so we do this on the side. That's why we massively appreciate anyone like Show who's just subscribed with a tier 1 sub for 14 months. So anyone that does subscribe to the channel, you put money into the channel, which helps us keep the lights and mics on. We appreciate you very much. But if you can't sub, don't worry. Anyone that just watches, your view counts. It helps us grow, helps us with the exposure. And if you can, anyone that wants to share a host on the channel, that would be appreciated. Anyone that just wants to drop a rating, all of that stuff massively helps us. So we appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you very much. You're beautiful, beautiful people. We are going to drop off. We will be back in around half an hour-ish with some State of Decay 2. So yeah, we'll see you for that. Maybe we'll invite some of you to jump in and play. Sure. Speaking of that, did you get your State of Decay download on the go? I'm assuming you're working today anyway, but we need to hook that up because we never actually did any gameplay over the weekend because got full on into the bank holiday mindset and fact things off completely. Lovely. But yeah, nice. Anyway, we'll talk about this some other time. Thank you everyone for watching and listening, especially if you're on demand. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. Have yourselves a lovely day, and remember,
stay frosty.